With that, the floor is all yours, Colin and Marlon.
All right. Hello, my name is Colin Schurek. I'm a second-year pharmacy student at the University of Pittsburgh School of Pharmacy.
I'm Marlon Lugo. I'm a computer science student.
And so our other team members on this project were Gordon, Wong, and Jack Bowen, but unfortunately they could not be here for the presentation. And so the topic of our project was utilizing artificial intelligence to optimize standardized patient encounters. So if you're unfamiliar with what a standardized patient encounter is, as part of the pharmacy school curriculum, we utilize standardized patients. These are essentially actors who are given a patient case to basically internalize and then help and then act as a simulation for the student pharmacist to work with, whether it be interviewing or counseling or some other type of pharmacy process. And so these are utilized throughout the curriculum, but we chose to focus on the two instances where they're mainly utilized, which is the fall and spring semesters of the first professional year. So graded SP encounters are utilized in the pharmacist patient care PPC course in both the fall and spring semesters. I think actually the P1s some of them have a final tomorrow for utilizing these standardized patients. But grading each student's encounter has been historically difficult due to the lack of having proctors to grade these encounters, as well as, I'm not going to throw out the word of bias, but there is variability in how different proctors are going to analyze the performance of these students. So our goal was to develop an easier way of grading students' SP encounters utilizing artificial intelligence and an interprofessional team of computer science students and student pharmacists. And going back to what Ian said and what Robbie said, we're trying to bridge that chasm that Ian mentioned to connect the pharmacy and technological innovation.
Yes, so I'll just talk a little bit about our workflow process over the semester. You can basically break it down into two separate, sections. One is the video to text transcription that we handled using Whisper. It's from OpenAI, which is the same company that does ChatGPT, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. And the nice thing about Whisper is that even though OpenAI itself is no longer fully open source, Whisper is. So we can use that free of charge, which is really nice, obviously, for the pharmacy school. And then for the rubric evaluation, we opted to use a framework called Replicate, which utilizes Llama 2, which is a large language model. A large language model is essentially what ChatGPT is. We opted to use this one from Meta because it's, I think, also open source. And we decided to use it through Replicate because the main issue we were running into when we were trying to get the large language models to work was the fact that they take up a lot of space to run natively. So Replicate kind of circumvents that issue by running it on their own servers. Now this does come at a cost, but it is really pretty inexpensive because it's built based on how many words you give it and how many words it spits out. For the evaluation purposes, we don't have to spit out that many words, so it's really just about how to optimize feeding it the transcript the fewest amount of time as possible. For the testing at the end, I think I racked up all about 20 cents of usage.
So here we have the video that our demo we're going to present to you is based off of. This was an OTC scenario, I think, from some competition that we pulled from the internet. Do you think is the audio? Should I have computer audio? Maybe. I'm just going to skip ahead to the middle of it to just get a general viewpoint of the case. It's not as relevant, but we want to show you that we did translate the case.
Advil was the best thing for my son's fever.
Of course, and I'll help you answer that question. Just before I do, I'd like to ask you a few more questions about your son's medical history, just to make sure I can make the best recommendation.
Not a problem.
Okay. Just so you know, this is a private counseling area, so everything we discuss will be private and confidential.
That's greatly appreciated.
And so what did you say your son's name was?
John.
John. And how old is John?
He's 5 years old.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the fever?
When John woke up this morning, he was really warm. I tested his temperature with a thermometer, an oral one. It read 39 degrees.
That is quite warm. Has he had any other symptoms that can explain his fever?
He's tugged on his ear a lot within the last day.
Okay, so you think it might be a little bit of ear pain?
I suspect he's got a sore ear.
Okay, any other symptoms?
All right, so that was just a little thing, and just note some of the information that was spoken there, and we'll see that with the demo there. This is a demo, and I guess you can always provide a commentary.
Sure. So this is on a Google Colab file, which essentially means all you need to run it is an internet connection and a browser. I fast-forwarded through all the download times, but it only added about 3 minutes in this case. So there I'm just importing all the packages that we need, and here I'm going to give it the file name that I want to transcribe. And then you'll see that's what I'm skipping right now is it transcribing the audio to the text. And then here, I'm just feeding it what's called an API token, which essentially connects it to my replicate account so it knows where to build stuff. I'm just defining a few more functions here for prompting. And then here you'll see a list of all the prompts that I fed it based off the rubric that we were provided from the pharmacy school. And you'll see that it spits out very simple yes, no's for all of the questions that we prompted with. Now it is also very easy to implement it to where it can give more detailed explanations here, but I'm just doing it like this so that we can get like a nice percentage at the end for the evaluation. And then after this, you'll see it does a very similar process, but this time prompting it with a summarization prompt that tries to pick out the key points. And yeah, do that.
And then these are just the summarized, so I have the patient's name and all the information gathered from there, as well as these are just screen caps of that video there for your looking. And then I know we're short on time, so here are some limitations and future directions of our project.
Yeah, just real quick. Whisper does have difficulty picking up specific prescription names, but if future students could look into that by doing fine-tuning and prompting it with, training it with custom vocabulary. There is some unpredictability in the Loma 2 output that's just inherent. You can feed the exact same prompt and it won't always do that. So we try to circumvent that with the low output, token output, with the yes, yes or no. And then we wanted to try and expand the summary details a little bit more, try and see where they're pulling the key points from, and also probably try and implement some way for the grading prompts to be easily modified by staff who aren't familiar with coding.
And that's it.
So we'll share one last time. Congratulations on a great semester's worth of work. Congratulations to Marlon on the graduation coming up, and to Colin for making this possible. A quick chance for anyone to scan the QR code to provide your feedback. We have a question from Tom Nolan, if you want to share.
That's really cool. I'm curious, did you compare the results that you found with even this case from YouTube, for example, or any other standardized case, with something that our faculty might have graded, just to see what the,
The question to repeat for our Zoom audience and for the crew to make sure I'm getting it right. Did you compare from what we have previously made or what YouTube you used with anything that might have been generated from the school or something that our faculty are using?
So external validation.
We have not had the we have not had the chance to really externally validate with like comparing it to I feel like that I forgot to put that in the future directions, but that is future directions to validate this method. At a glance, it does meet those categories, but I want to implement it into like real life practice with, say, Dr. Revich's students and compare it to different proctors and do more analysis on it in later semesters.
For NAP1 testing tomorrow, let us know if you want somebody else recording and judging you from afar. Thank you once again with a quick round of applause.